This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Asia's imports of liquefied natural gas, LNG, are poised to drop to the lowest in nearly 2 years in February, while Europe's are set to surge to the second highest on record. The weakness in Asia shows buyers are shunning expensive spot cargoes, with prices at least 50% higher than what they were this time last year. A milder than usual winter across much of North Asia has also dampened demand, and allowed European buyers to bid for cargoes as part of efforts to restock the continent's depleted inventories.
Iraq will export 185,000 barrels per day from Kurdistan's oil fields through the Iraq-Turkey pipeline once the oil shipments resume, an Iraqi oil ministry official said on Sunday. Bassem Mohammed, deputy oil minister for upstream operations, told Iraq's state news agency that the quantity currently available for export from Kurdistan regional government oil fields is 300,000 barrels of oil per day, part of which is allocated for domestic use, while the remaining 185,000 barrels will be designated for export. Iraq's oil ministry said on Saturday that all procedures had been completed to allow the resumption of exports through the Iraq-Turkey pipeline, potentially resolving a nearly 2-year dispute that has disrupted crude flows.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Oil prices slipped in Asia on Monday, extending losses from last week, on the prospect of a resumption of exports from Kurdistan's oil fields, while investors awaited clarity on talks to resolve Russia's war on Ukraine. Brent futures were down 1 cent, or 0.01%, at $74.42 barrel, as of 0731 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures lost 12 cents, or 0.2%, to $70.28 a barrel. Both Brent and WTI dropped by more than $2 on Friday, posting weekly declines of 0.4% and 0.5%, respectively.
Myanmar and its close ally Russia signed a memorandum on investment cooperation in a special economic zone in Dawei, including construction of a port and an oil refinery, Russia's Ministry of Economic Development said on Sunday. The document was signed by the head of the Russian ministry Maxim Reshetnikov and Myanmar's Minister for Investment and Foreign Economic Relations Khan Zha during a visit of a Russian delegation to the Southeast Asian country. The text of the memorandum contains the basic parameters of several large infrastructure and energy projects that are being implemented jointly with Russian companies in Myanmar, the Russian ministry cited Reshetnikov as saying in a statement. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said on Sunday they expected that an agreement would be signed this week on U.S. access to Ukraine's critical mineral deposits. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky wavered in his commitment towards that a week ago, Witkoff said in a CNN State of the Union interview, referring to the Ukrainian leader's rejection of the original U.S. proposal. The president, Trump, sent the message to him. He's not wavering anymore. Zelensky realized that we have done so much for Ukraine, and I think you'll see it. The deal, signed this week, continued Witkoff.
Dalian iron ore futures prices snapped a 4-day winning streak on Monday as increasing levies on Chinese steel dampened demand prospects for the key steelmaking ingredient, though decreasing portside inventories in China limited the fall. The most traded May iron ore contract on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange traded 0.89% lower at 831 yuan and 50 fen, $114.87, a metric ton, as of 0250 GMT. The benchmark March iron ore on the Singapore Exchange ticked 0.22% lower at $108.25 a ton. Vietnam will impose a temporary anti-dumping levy of up to 27.83% on some steel products from China, according to a Trade Ministry document seen by Reuters.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Malaysia has no plans to raise palm oil's biodiesel blend to 20% from the current 10%, as the required infrastructure development would need funding that both the industry and the government are unwilling to provide, the commodities minister said on Monday. There are challenges to implement the biodiesel blend to 20% as it will require an investment in infrastructure estimated at about 643 million ringgit, $146.20 million, Plantation and Commodities Minister Johari Abdul Ghani told Parliament. Malaysia currently imposes a 10% biodiesel mandate, although a 20% biodiesel mandate is implemented in Labuan and Langkawi as well as the state of Sarawak except Bintulu, he said.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.